Talking Clemson football right here at the Voice of College Football. Appreciate you stopping by for the best in discussion, debate, and analysis. Keep in mind that we've got a Wednesday night show at 8 p.m. Eastern time. You can join Jordan Bowman and Tiger Paw Craven live right there. Here we're talking to Jason Priester, of course, from the Clemson Insider. Jason, how you doing today?
I am doing well, man. How about yourself?
I'm doing just fine. Thought we'd flag you down for some football talk in the middle of basketball season, and with baseball just right around the corner for you.
It's always football season.
It's always football season. Never stops. Never stops. Especially with this transfer portal business. But before we get to that, I know we are going to need like a 45-minute breakdown on Alex Nako's long snapping skills. I'm sure you've probably taken in every long snap he's ever done in high school just to make sure that Dabo Sweeney made the right decision. But got a long snapper out of Tampa.
Yeah, he was kind of a late addition, took the unbeaten path, so to speak. He's a 2025 guy, and he's kind of wanted to go to Clemson. Got up there last summer, with the rosters expanding to 105 and that stuff kind of in flux. I guess Dabo was kind of hesitant to hand out a preferred walk-on spot. So they wanted to wait a little while, see how things were going to shake out. He came back. I can't remember if I think he came to 2 games during the season. And then they started talking about him gray shirting, which is a term you don't hear anymore, right? Actually enrolling in school now. He told me he might serve as a trainer or something in the 2025 season, and then he'll be on the team full scholarship come 2026. Actually, starting in January, if I'm remembering that right. So he's gonna enroll in school, not be on the team this semester, and then they'll have him 4 years after that. Kind of sets Clemson up for after the guys they've got there in place, the long snappers they've gotten after they move on. And I'm not really familiar with long snappers or long snapper rankings. I can just tell you that the one that I looked at, he's the 12th best in the country, and they rate him as a 5-star. I don't know what goes into that. I didn't even look at how many they had rated as 5 stars, but I know at one time he was rated as high as 7th, and then he kind of didn't do many camps as a senior, I don't think, and his rating kind of took a hit because of it. But yeah, you don't hear about guys gray shirting anymore, especially with the new roster limit set to take effect after the House settlement gets finalized. But it's a neat story nonetheless.
I would love to read these scouting reports on long snappers. 18% of them were off to the side, and one was over his head, so we dropped him down. The other guy hit him right in the jaw every time. That's about all I can go on when it comes to these long snappers.
That and how quick you can get out of that snap into a block.
Yes. Yeah. I'm making a little bit less of it than actually exists, but it's just kind of funny. The long snapping rankings. But yeah, so we got Alex Nako, I believe that's how he pronounces his name, out of Tampa. And correct. He just signed. So he's listed in the 2026 class, but you just explained to us he's going to be in school. So I was not aware of that portion of it. There's 6 hard commits for 2026, 20th rated class right now, which means nothing at this point. So is there anybody out there in regards to any expected offers, commits? What's the latest on the landscape of 2026?
Clemson's got a big junior day coming up on March 8th that they call it the Elite Retreat, where they bring in their top 2026 targets or the top targets of that class. It's an annual thing going back a few years. Usually it's reserved for the highest of targets. This year, I've got already at least 25 people that I've confirmed that are coming. I'm sure the list is even more than that. That's just what I've confirmed. That seems, I didn't go back and look at last year's list, but seems kind of high if I'm remembering right. So they've kind of widening the net with this thing. And there's going to be, to me, the biggest thing about it, or what stands out to me, is the number of offensive linemen that are coming in. There's going to be several of them. Clemson's definitely kind of widened the net there with Luke Matt Luke in his first recruiting cycle, or his first full recruiting cycle, shall I say. Seems like they've kind of, handed out more offers than they have in the past. And there's going to be some good ones there. There's a couple of in-state kids that are highly ranked, Zion Giles, Desmond Green, that are supposed to be on hand. A kid that goes to the same school as Davis Sanders, the 5-star in the last class. His name's Leo Delaney. He told me he's coming. I wish I had my list right here in front of me, but I don't. Clemson needs a hit on a big running back in this class. 4-star Carson Baker told me he's coming out of Georgia. He's one of the best backs in the class. Hey, Clemson's only offered one running back in this class, so one of Dabo's rules is you got to visit before you can get the offer. So from my understanding, there's going to be a couple of backs on campus that weekend. We'll see which one they decide to actually offer and pursue. I think Baker is definitely probably a likely candidate. But yeah, it's one of Clemson's two big events that they have, during the off season. They have that big elite retreat, usually in March. Well, it was actually supposed to be, it's usually in January. It was originally scheduled for January 25th. They pushed it back to March 8th, with them in pursuit of a new defensive coordinator. They want to have all that stuff in place. That's my understanding anyways. So it's a little bit later this year than it usually is. But it kind of sets them up to go into that big official visit weekend they have the first weekend in June every year. You get a clearer picture of who you have a much more realistic shot at landing. That's probably going to be a more exclusive list of visitors, so to speak, as compared to this one. I would not expect 30-something people there for that weekend, but I've been surprised before. But that's kind of the big thing with Clemson recruiting right now is kind of all eyes are set on that big event. We're in a dead period right now. Did have one offensive line target. Matter of fact, today he announced a commitment date of February 28th. Bear McWhorter. Depending on which service you look at, he's a 3-star or 4-star guy out of Cass. They're in Georgia, Alabama, Clemson, South Carolina, Florida, and one more were his list of 5 finalists. He had told me that he was coming. This has been probably 3 weeks ago that he was going to visit for the elite retreat. With him setting up a commitment date of February 28th, I kind of had my doubts about that's going to happen. That seems to be heading in a different direction, so to speak.
Got Jason Priester on the line from the Clemson Insider. Please check out his work right there. You see his X handle. You can follow Jason's work with not just the football, but basketball and baseball right there.